So if you've made it to this page, I assume you're interested in what energetics is. So I'm just going to jump right into it. This is the What is Energetics video. Okay. So energetics is a blend of Eastern and Western techniques. It uses the Western theory of the subconscious mind and the Eastern theory of energy centers in the body. And we actually use chakras. There are a couple of different Eastern theories, but we are using chakras. So for the subconscious mind, what you need to know is your subconscious mind is like a video camera, similar to the one I'm standing in front of, where it records everything that's going on around you. And it doesn't matter to your subconscious mind whether things are happening to you, to your friend, to your family, or on television. Your subconscious mind takes it all in exactly the same on an even plane. Very similar to if you have a video camera and you pan across the room. The video camera doesn't care who it's pointed at. It records it the same way. Now with a video camera, you may actually see depth, that someone is closer and someone is further away. The way that your subconscious mind does depth is what the most intense emotion is. So if you're feeling really calm, content, and relaxed, that's not very intense as an emotion. If you're feeling ecstatically joyful, your subconscious will certainly zoom in on that. But if you're just feeling calm, content, and relaxed, and someone over in the far corner is having an argument, or on television things are blowing up and people are going, ah! That's what your subconscious mind holds as the more important piece of information. It records it all the same, but it will say that that's the important bit because it's what you have your emotion attached to. The chakras are energy centers in your body. Now, the energy flows through your entire body, and all the way down to your feet, which I can't really reach on camera. But we use the energy centers, which are the most intense parts of the energy field and also the easiest to access. So I'm going to talk a little about that. I'm going to show you the chakra points that we use in a minute. I'm going to talk a little bit about what energetics is. It falls under the umbrella of energy psychology. Now, energy psychology is a new field of psychology. It's relatively new. It's about 15 years old at this point, if you're watching this the same day that I tape it. And I needed something from the energy psychology field to help me get over PTSD and irritable bowel syndrome and deservingness issues. And if you want to hear about that, you need to go to my What About Me page. And there's a little video there as well as a write-up. So what I did to invent it was actually almost accidental. Okay, it was completely accidental in the beginning. I saw a psychologist who taught me EFT, which you may know as tapping, which is similar to energetics, except that instead of using chakras, it uses acupressure points to connect with the meridian lines in the body. And if you don't know anything about that, you can Google acupressure or meridian lines in the body. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that. So it's a blend of EFT and C-Morg matrix and Be Set Free Fast, and also counseling skills and intuition. And I pulled things from it that worked for me. And actually, originally, I thought that I was just doing the C-Morg matrix that I'd been taught. But I wasn't, and I didn't realize it until I actually saved up some money and bought a manual for C-Morg matrix and realized that in the interim, I'd completely changed what I was doing. And what I had done was pull the setup statement from EFT, some of the feel-good stuff from Be Set Free Fast, some of the C-Morg matrix uses chakras, and I got that from that. And I'd put it together with some counseling skills. I have previous training in counseling and a little bit of intuition. And I've morphed it all into one thing, which I'm now calling energetics. And it worked for me to clear my post-traumatic stress disorder, my irritable bowel syndrome, and all of my issues of deservingness. About 90% of my issues of deservingness. I'm still working on that. And then I tried it with friends and family. And if you've seen the About Me, you'll know that at this point, I am on the east side of the country, and my friends and family are on the west side of the country. So it wasn't like I was running into people all the time that I knew that I could like guinea pig with this stuff. So instead, what I basically was doing is I tend to be really empathetic. So when someone tells me they're in pain, I go, oh, that's so sad, let's fix it. And so I would say to people, you have a headache? Do you want to try a technique that I know? If it works, it might take 10, 15 minutes. You want to try it? You'd be surprised how many people are willing to try a technique that may get rid of their pain in 10 minutes. It was a large number of people. So I was trying it with all sorts of people, and I was modifying as I went for what worked for people and also to shorten things. So it was a lot of fun at that phase, and it's still a lot of fun. So the portions, I'm going to talk a little bit about the components of energetics, just so you know. So the energetics goes like this. First, you have a problem that you want to work on, or you have something that's really good, but you want to make it completely, totally great. All right. So let's pretend it's a problem just for a minute. So we're going to get you to evaluate your problem. That's the first step. So what do I mean by that? Do I mean you ruminate? How did I get this problem? What's going on with my parents that caused this problem? Psychologists like to go into your parents a lot. Or how intensely I dislike this problem. No, we're not going to do any of that. You don't need to make yourself feel bad to solve your problem. Instead, when I say evaluation, what I mean is thinking about your problem for a moment. So pretend you have a headache. I have a headache. On a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being, I have no headache. What are you talking about? Wasp. And 10 being, I can't think, I can't breathe, my head hurts so much. Oh! Where do you fall on that scale? So that's an evaluation. So just evaluate. How do I feel about this? Then we're going to do a tuning phrase. And the tuning phrase involves two components. First is actually a phrase that we're going to repeat and use. And the second part is there's some hand positions. So there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. And I'm just going to go through very quickly 4 of them. So the 4 things that we're going to go through for the tuning phrase are, you can either, there's a point at the heel of your hand, and when you bend your pinky, right in the middle of that, there's a point you can do this, or you can tap it this way if that's more comfortable. You can use either hand, it doesn't make any difference. So whatever makes you happy. So that's one option. The other things you can do are chest points. So there's some sore points here. We're going to go through this more in the sample, but so there's chest points here and you rub them. And you're very gentle with these ones because they're called chest points, but they're really sore for a lot of people. So you can usually find them by finding the sore spot. Then if you can't use your hands, we don't want to leave you out. Okay, so what you can do is called reverse crossing. So cross your arms and cross your legs. I don't know if you can see my legs, but just assume they're crossed. Usually good to do this one sitting down if you have balance issues. And then you're going to cross your legs the other way that you wouldn't normally cross them. This is called reversed crossing. Very technical term. Okay, and then you're going to cross your arms the other way that you wouldn't normally cross them. Now if you've crossed your arms, uncross them and recross them the opposite way, and it feels really comfortable, you have not reverse crossed your arms. You've taken them out and put them back in again. Unless you happen to do yoga. For some people who do yoga, both ways are comfortable. I don't know why. So that's the first thing. And the last one that you can do, if you can't do any of those things, is you can just visualize yourself doing whatever is the easiest one for you to visualize. So if you can't move your arms or your legs, you have mobility challenges, you can still do it with your brain. Because this is based on energy, you don't have to do the physical if you cannot do it. It's easier to focus on it if you're doing the physical, so that's why I always recommend it if you can. Then we have the tuning phrase itself. And basically the tuning phrase is running through 3 times. So it's, although I have whatever problem, I still love myself exactly the way I am. And I'm open to whatever solution I've decided, and I deserve it. Although I still love myself exactly, although I have this problem, I still love myself exactly the way I am. I am okay, and I'm now experiencing whatever solution you've decided on. Although I have this problem, I still love myself exactly the way I am. I'm a good person, and I like myself. And I'm always experiencing whatever solution that you've decided on. So for instance, if it's a headache, I'll just do one. Although I have this headache and it hurts and I hate it and I've been having a headache for a year and everybody is avoiding me, I still love myself exactly the way I am. I'm a good person and I like myself and I'm always completely pain-free and healthy. So that's an example of how it would use. Okay, so that was the tuning phrase. The next part is the flush and then the install. So for a flush, for both the flush and the install, we're using the chakra points. So I'm just going to run through them really quickly. So with the flush, we flush the bad things out, and with the install, we install the good things in. So I always flush out first and then install once it's empty. And if you're not getting completely empty, you can still do an install and bump things out of the way. All right. So the chakra points that we use And there are lots of chakra points, and I use the main ones plus a couple of adjuncts for this. So it's the top of the head, the forehead, the jaw, the throat, the heart, one side of the heart and the other side of the heart. They're actually masculine and feminine. I can never remember in which order. The diaphragm, the stomach, the pubic bone, and the seam of your jeans if you're wearing them. This is called the root. If you're not wearing jeans, it's actually your vulva if you're a woman and just behind your scrotum if you're a man. So we're going to flush out first and then install, just doing the opposite things. And while we're doing those, we actually go through and we decide what the problem is, where we feel the problem, and we put one hand, the stationary hand, on the point that is the problem. Then we flush out. Then we think about where the solution would live in our body, put your hand there, and then install up. And that's the end of it. It's a really very simple process. So what's it good for? It's good for physical things like pain, illness, trauma, in like I had an accident and now I ache, muscle problems, bone problems, what else physical? Well, I think I've covered just about everything physical. Mobility challenges. For mental things, it's good for changing your thoughts and habits. It's good for becoming more of what you want to be, for being able to think more clearly, for deciding to make a difference in your life. So for instance, if you have a mental block about quitting smoking because you want to quit smoking but you don't want to quit smoking, it's good for that. It's good for emotional things. Emotional things like sadness, depression, grief, anger, or getting better. So I'm happy but I want to be joyful. And it's also good for building skills like business skills, sports skills. So if you want to play golf better, you want to do better accounting, if you want to learn a new language, it's good for all of those things. And that's about it. That's what is energetics and what it's good for. So feel free to contact me if you wish, or go on, put your name in the box over here. There's a box. Name and email, and that'll get you a chance to try out the sample where you can deal with your problem right now. Thanks. Bye.